What is up, everybody? My name is BobaTalks and welcome to my Gotham Season 4 Episode 8 trailer breakdown. The episode is titled Stop Hitting Yourself, and it's actually a really good trailer, and not that the other trailers aren't good, but this one had me guessing quite a lot, and I still won't know, obviously, until we find out what happens in the episode, but that's what I like about trailers, because the more speculation, the more fun it is. So let's watch the trailer, guys, before we break this down.
Revenge is never as simple as a mere tit for tat. Revenge must be specific. Friendship can be an especially deadly tactic. Friendship can blind you to what is staring you right in the face.
Look who finally got what he always wanted. All I did was my job. Nothing in Gotham is free.
So before we get into this breakdown, guys, I just want to remind you, if you don't have notifications turned on already, I really do recommend you do so, just so you're always up to date and the first to know when I bring out a Gotham video or any DC TV video. So to do that, be sure to hit that bell button to enable notifications for the channel. The synopsis for this episode is as follows. Grundy and Nygma become main attractions at Cherry's place in the Narrows. Penguin wants revenge when he hears that Nygma is mocking him on stage and enlists the Sirens for help. Meanwhile, Gordon is offered the position of GCPD captain, putting him at odds with Bullock. Now, when I did see this promo, I did think in that moment towards the end of the trailer, what is he doing? Is he handing over a badge to Jim? Because I was just like, is he getting a promotion? Because they did say this season that Jim would be taking much larger steps towards his commissionership, and I was like, okay, so how's that going to happen? Is it going to be promotion? When I saw that in this video, I was like, oh my god, is that going down? But can I say that in the video? But up until then, I didn't read the synopsis, and it actually looks like he's being offered the position of captain. And also, just judging by what Harvey was like in the trailer, very bitter towards Jim, I was just like, this doesn't seem to be cooking up too good for their friendship and partnership, should I say. And that is exactly what is going on in this trailer, and there's actually so much that is going on in this trailer, because we've got the stuff between Nygma and Penguin again. Now, let's talk about that for a second. I was just a bit like this season, I hope they don't rehash the whole, Riddler versus Oswald thing, but they've done it in a very different way this season that helps me digest it a lot better than to just look at it just like, oh, they're doing Nygma versus Oswald again. What's to know, you know? But the interesting dynamic about the whole Oswald and Nygma thing, I feel it's going to be timeless, and it's going to be timeless because forever in Gotham, I don't think they're always going to be the best of buds that they were when their friendship was actually really true friendship. But now it's kind of different because, you know, Riddler isn't at his full peak of intelligence. Oswald is on top of the criminal underworld, but little does he know that he's being basically usurped. And at the same time, with Nygma's intelligence not necessarily being there and Oswald being at the top, it's going to be interesting to see how this fight turns out. What I'm trying to say is at least they're not giving us the exact same storyline as what they did in Season 3. Now, at the beginning of this trailer, Oswald is talking to somebody about revenge. He says revenge isn't, I don't know, something about tit for tat. It needs to be specific. He's just basically talking about the nature of revenge, and obviously he's going to be talking about the revenge that is going on in this episode. Now, this could be about Nygma, but I'm not entirely convinced, because I don't know if this is necessarily a revenge thing, or if he's talking about revenge for someone else, whether it be for Nygma against him, or should he be getting revenge against Nygma because he got out of ice, but that's not exactly a revenge thing. What I'm kind of worried about is that he's talking to Harvey here. Now, what we have to remember, guys, is I'm not spitting out facts here. This is just speculation, because what we see later in the trailer, now this isn't obviously in a specific chronological order, but we see Harvey is actually looking at some bullets while this is going on. Now, what we have to remember about trailers is there's a lot of misdirect. Now, this could actually mean nothing at all. And at the same time, no, I don't think really, if I properly think about it, that Harvey would consider actually killing Jim, because that is very petty. They have a much more of a bond than that, you know, than just Jim being offered captain, than for Harvey to just be like, right, I'm going to kill you now. Even though there's a lot of tension, I don't necessarily think that's the case, but it's interesting that Harvey's looking at these bullets whilst Oswald's dialogue is, you know, going over these scenes. And also note, at the same time, these bullets look kind of used on the first 3 of them. I believe the last 3 of them are actually intact. I would love to know what you think in the comments down below, what these these bullets are, or who they were used against, and what the last 3 might be for, as it's still quite a mystery to me at this point. This is what I love about this trailer. There's so much that I'm questioning and I'm not sure about. But this is what these videos are all about, trying to break down what the heck is going on in next week's episode, or should I say this week's. So let's rewind back to this whole revenge thing that Penguin is talking about in the beginning of this trailer, and that is most likely going to be about Riddler, because I think the reason why he wants quote-unquote revenge, and if it is about Nygma, because as the synopsis stated, that he sends the Sirens, or should I say Barbara, Tabitha and Selena, after Nygma, after he hears that Nygma has basically been taking the piss out of Penguin at the Fight Club in the Narrows. And obviously, since Grundy and Nygma have become the main attractions at Cherry's Fight Club, which is a no-brainer since obviously Nygma is the host of Solomon Grundy, since Solomon Grundy follows Nygma wherever he goes, and Grundy is just an absolute tank, you would have thought that would be completely the case, that they're the main attractions at Cherry's. So I feel like, since we know Ed may have you know, well indeed lost his intelligence, but he definitely hasn't lost his flair for the theatricalness to him, or theatrics should I say, because he was always like that when he was intelligent, but now he's got the theatrics or for this Fight Club, since he owns the most badass fighter in the arena. And now it seems that, you know, he's in this trailer, there's quite a few displays of him being right in the center stage, all dressed up as Oswald, taking the piss out of him. I'm really looking forward to see what the nature of this is all about. But then again, we see some clips from when the Sirens have actually arrived at the Fight Club, and we see that Selena seems to have Nygma tied up to a chair, and she even slaps him at some point, which is pretty interesting. I'm really loving this development with Selena. She's not really a kid anyway. I think Selena, or should I say Cameron, in real life is 18, and she's really growing into this role over the past 4 years. It's really interesting seeing these child actors grow into adults, and the more and more that happens for Cameron, or should I say a character Selena, you really do see those traits of her inner Catwoman and stuff come out. And at the moment, she's all about discovering herself, what her purpose is. So she's doing a bit of badassery of the Sirens, which isn't obviously the best place for her, but at the same time, she is Catwoman, a younger Catwoman, and, you know, she has got quite a lot of rogue anti-hero-esqueness to her, so this isn't surprising. If anything, I love what we're seeing in this trailer, with her, Barbara and Tabitha rocking up to the fight arena, and with just Selena treating Ed like, you know, he's her absolute toy to play with in the meantime, until they figure out how to take down Butch, I'm guessing. Which I keep forgetting is now Solomon Grundy, but, you know, Butch will always forever be in my heart. Now, I think one of my highlights of this trailer, and what I'm looking forward to most in this episode, is actually seeing Grundy versus Tabitha. Now, this is going to be a very emotional yet cool thing to see. Obviously, Tabitha and Butch were very much so an item, a very unusual item, but at the same time, I really liked how those characters, a very unlikely pair, were together. And obviously she thought Butch died, but little does she know, and little do a lot of people not know, that you know, Butch survived and became Solomon Grundy, and little does Butch know, or should I say Grundy now, that, you know, he doesn't remember anything, right? So it's going to be really kind of interesting to see him taking on Tabitha in a fight in the Fight Club. Now, as that comes around in the episode, I don't know how it's going to go down. Maybe it's just a simple matter of, you know, Penguin wants Nygma to stop mocking him, and, you know, Grundy is maybe part of that plan, so maybe just shut them both down, because we also see Nygma standing alongside Barbara here just as she shoots off her gun, maybe to just stop that whole fight from happening, because it looks like it gets pretty brutal, and I don't really necessarily blame that, because Grundy is an absolute nutcase, but we know Tabitha is an extreme badass as well, and I'll get to the promo photos part of this a bit later, but that also sheds a bit of light on this episode trailer, should I say, because we also see a few more teasers about that fight between Tabitha and Grundy, which, to be honest, surprisingly looks evenly matched. Now, there is another character that you may have spotted in this trailer, which if you didn't, I don't know how you didn't, but Firefly is back, and now the question is has she come along with the Sirens? It didn't exactly state that in the synopsis, but maybe Penguin sends Firefly after the Sirens because there might be a bit of trouble, or he wants things to move along. I'm not really sure how Firefly would fit into this episode, but maybe she wants to break a little bit of stuff up. I've got a feeling that maybe Cherry won't want to let go of her prize, Solomon Grundy, yet Tabitha might be actually quite successful in terms of taking down Solomon, which at the same time, Tabitha is a badass, but Solomon is basically the Hulk. So I'll get to that point, as I said, when I go over the promo photos. But maybe Firefly is there. Barbara's shooting earlier on in the episode. because maybe Cherry is taking things into her own hands because she doesn't want to lose, you know, basically the very core of her business. Don't get me wrong, obviously this Fight Club was operating before Solomon Grundy and Ed even came to the Fight Club, but since, if you think about how much of a crazy act Solomon Grundy must be now for the Fight Club, she definitely doesn't want her business failing because it must be flourishing ever since he arrived at the arena with Nygma. It looks like this episode we're getting a bit more Sophia seducing Jim, which, you know, doesn't surprise me, and I don't really have too much to say about it because it's a long weaving game. I think with this whole Sophia Falcone thing, I don't think Penguin has any idea at the minute that she's, you know, completely playing him and will eventually usurp him, and I do feel like Jim is a bit of an idiot for falling for obviously such a gangster because she is her father's daughter, and he should really know that even though maybe she is a slight bit interested in him, it's not a good idea at all. But we'll have to wait and see. I feel like that's just a dummy role that Jim is playing this season in terms of how Crystal Reed can further fit into this show. Now obviously Jim is getting offered to be the captain of this precinct, and I really like the idea of that, and in this photo here you can obviously see that he might have got a letter initially, and then towards the end of the trailer we actually see him meeting with somebody who actually ends up handing him the badge, and even Harvey right at the end of the trailer says, you know, you look who finally got what he's always wanted, and Jim just says, look, I've just done my job, and I have to admit I'm defending Jim here. He literally has just been doing his job. I love Harvey. I really do love Harvey, and people have asked me before. I've changed my answer a couple of times, but one of my favorite characters on Gotham is Harvey. But I have to admit, he hasn't really been doing his job, and Jim, like a lot of people are starting to realize since my review of last episode, that he really did show his inner Jim Gordon, you know, future commissioner, going after the cops one by one after all this is done, you know, righteous bloke who I know is in the comics one day, and we're starting to see that seep through more and more instead of just the dark Jim that we've got from the past season. And when Harvey's criticizing him like this, it did kind of annoy me a bit. Harvey is going through a lot of stuff, whether it's debt. We saw him popping painkillers in the last episode. Obviously, you know, he was in the hospital a couple of episodes ago, but, you know, he's got a lot of issues, and I feel like he's taking a bit of that out on Jim now because he's been offered the captain's chair. But yeah, what can I say? Jim Gordon does do his bloody job, so Harvey shouldn't be that annoyed that he's getting off. I mean, obviously he's getting the captain's chair taken away from him, but Jim wanted to tear up the crime licensing papers that Penguin introduced into Gotham straight away, and he's even inspired other cops to not even accept the crime licensing papers. And Harvey was just saying he was in it for the long game, but we will never truly know, I guess, because he was taking money, he was allowing it to happen. So why shouldn't Jim be the captain of the GCPD when we fully know that it's a fact that he will be commissioner one day? Why shouldn't this happen now? A part of me does think maybe it's a bit too soon. We're 4 years in, I don't know. Harvey kind of assumed the role of captain pretty quickly, but at the same time he might have been there for a long time. But at the same time, as Jim said, and I'm defending him here, he was just doing his job, which Harvey hasn't really been doing. Now, as to whether he'll get the captain's chair, that is a question I cannot answer because I really don't know if this is just a tease and they'll just be like, you know, you've been offered it, but he's going to eventually turn it down at the end of the episode. He's going to allow Harvey to be captain. Maybe that will inspire Harvey to think, oh, Jim, you know, you didn't have to do that. You know, you didn't have to make me captain, but it will also inspire him to do a bit of, you know, things better rather than just take money from Penguin and allow his crime licensing to go on throughout the city. I feel like if Jim turns it down, which I've got an inkling he will, and let Harvey keep the captain's chair, then that will inspire Harvey to be a bit of a better cop than, you know, what he has been doing this season so far. But then again, we also hear Harvey say to Jim that nothing is free in Gotham, or nothing in Gotham is free. So maybe he's just genuinely saying that, like, you know, you've only been offered this not because of, you know, you being a good cop. Maybe there's slightly more to that conversation we see Jim is having with whoever is giving him that GCPD badge. I assume the commissioner. But maybe there is a bit more to it. We'll have to wait and see. But I'd love to know your thoughts on this specific subject in the comments below right now, guys. Now let's take a look at the promo photos. And I want to start off with the Penguin ones. And I think they're very interesting and they show another side to this episode than what the trailer didn't. And we see this kid at the orphanage. We see quite a few orphanage photos in these promo photos. And obviously, if you remember, Sophia Falcone set up this orphanage, and we know that Penguin is completely taken to Sophia. And the thing is, we got the impression that he really doesn't like this orphanage, and he finds it annoying, but he's obviously enduring it because it's for Sophia, and he likes Sophia, he respects Sophia, and he wants Sophia to respect him, especially judging by, you know, how eager he was to show off to Sophia about what he's doing in the city last episode. I thought that was a very good example, but obviously Oswald isn't exactly a standing person to be inspired by, but you get my drift. But we see Oswald in a couple of these photos talking to one of the kids in the orphanage, and we even see him shaking hands with one of the kids, and then we see another shot of this same kid with some gasoline and some matches. So can you guess what that kid's up to? Probably because he's been, you know, given a nudge from Oswald, probably to set fire to the whole orphanage. Now, I don't think this is necessarily Penguin, you know, secretly trying to screw over Sophia. I think it's more the Penguin we knew, where he was with Ed. He really liked Ed, but so much to the point where he wanted to get rid of Isabella. Now, obviously, yes, he did want, you know, Ed's love, and he didn't want Isabella getting in the way, but I feel like this is another thing. It wasn't to, like, deliberately piss off Ed, even though he isn't obviously completely compassionate or sensitive to the fact that that would annoy Ed. I feel like it's the same thing here. He knows, I don't think he realizes that this, or maybe he does realize, but he just doesn't care in a way, in a very Oswald Penguin way, that obviously destroying this orphanage would be completely upsetting for Sophia. But at the same time, he likes Sophia, he wants her to respect him, but this orphanage is very annoying to him. He can't stand kids, and this orphanage is getting in his way or in her way. So he probably has set this kid up to torch the place, make it look like an accident perhaps, so this goddamn annoying orphanage in his eyes is out of his way, and, you know, so he gets Sophia all to himself, this loving, mothery, or just loving figure that he's, you know, we all know Oswald likes, and what Sophia has definitely appealed to, that part of his personality and his traits that he desires, is a very loving figure. So he probably wants that all to himself, and that's definitely what I'm picking up with these photos of this kid, you know, with the gasoline and the matches. So let me know what you think of that in the comments, guys. Now, the rest of the promo photos consist of the Fight Club. We've got a few pictures of Ed looking absolutely brilliant in this mockery of Penguin that he's got set up. I really like the costume design here. Obviously, from a creative standpoint, obviously it's meant to mimic Oswald, but I have to say it is very creative, and I absolutely love the design here. It's just fantastic. As I said, we all know Ed is very theatrical, as it turns out, not necessarily having to have the intelligence to still be theatrical, and that is exactly what he's doing in this trailer, in these promo photos, sorry. And even in the trailer, he seemed to have something new and snazzy on, and why not? Because him and Grundy are the main attention now and main attraction of this fight arena in the Narrows. Now, these next few photos are of Tabitha and Grundy's duel or fight, whatever you want to call it. And now I think it's a bit spoiler at this point, because I think this does indicate in the next photo I'm about to show, not just yet, don't worry, of the outcome of the fight. This is the thing about some promo photos. I feel like they've shown this about multiple episodes, not just Gotham. In The Flash, it showed the end of The Flash's episode with Breacher, but anyway, that's another thing. I feel like this shows about the outcome of Solomon, Grundy's, and Tabitha's fight. So if you don't want to see it, don't look now. But here we can see it was clearly such a battle, but it seems that Tabitha was actually the one out on top, because I do firmly believe that she will be. I'll eat my words if I'm wrong, as I always say, but it seems that she does hit him over the head with this very nasty looking weapon here. And then we can see her looking very concerned about him, because obviously Tabitha really cares about, you know, the former Butch, now Grundy. Little does she know about how brain dead he probably is, and she probably isn't aware of how well he can heal, so she's looking very concerned here, because she probably just knocked him for 6. And this photo of Selena and Barbara here are either looking very concerned about how Tabitha's getting beaten up in the fight, which I'm sure she will, and some of these photos definitely implicate that, or it could be a photo that just shows how shocked they are about how Grundy got defeated by Tabitha, and that's kind of confusing for me. I know Tabitha's a badass, but Grundy in theory can just keep taking hits, so we'll just have to wait and see. I know Tabitha's a badass, so I guess we just have to bear that in mind. But let me know what you think about these promo photos and the trailer in the comments down below, guys, as I thought it was pretty awesome. And as this trailer has quite a bit of mystery to it, whether, you know, it's about the bullets question and a few other things in the trailer, let me know what you thought about some of the bits in the trailer that weren't definitely spelled out to us. What do you think could be happening? But apart from that, guys, that is all I've got to say about this trailer and the promo photos. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, just leave a like on the video, as it only takes 2 seconds and it really does show your your support for the channel. If you want to stay a bit more up to date with me personally, you can do so by following me on social media. The link should be popping up on the screen around here or in the description below. I normally use Twitter the most, so maybe that's the best way to follow me, or Facebook, but it's up to you. But other than that, guys, that is everything from this video. Thank you so much for the support on this channel. We're literally just around the corner from 10,000 subscribers, which is really insane. I started my channel just literally over a year ago from around this time, so it's absolutely a great achievement in my books that we've managed to hit 10,000 subscribers nearly just over a year, right before Christmas. So that's really great, guys. I just want to emphasize that I really do appreciate every single like, every single comment, because those guys of you who do that and take the extra step to show your support, just really I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. But anyway, guys, other than that, thank you so much for watching today. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.